Yeah, we back, baby. Dolph Jackson, Coach Rock, presented by the Come On In Sports Network. Who Dat Nation, how you doing? Come on in. Take a seat, it's all good, you're amongst friends. Breaking news, interviews, Saints juice. Open lines up just for you. 9 ball, 10 ball, where you at? 12 ball, 15, where you at? 3rd ball, 17, where you at? 9th ball, all the way in the back. Uptown, baby, downtown, baby. Everybody represent black and gold, baby. Uptown, baby, downtown, baby. Everybody represent black and gold, baby. Who that? Who that? Who that saying they gon' beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that saying they gon' beat them Saints?
Who Dat Nation, how you doing? Come on in. Take a seat, sit back, relax, put your feet up, grab a drink, and let's talk Saints football. Y'all know what time it is. Time to keep it real. Let's go. Family, family, family. The doors are now open, so come on in. What's going on, family? It's your boy, Dolph Jackson. This is Come On In Saints Live, and we're powered by the Come On In Sports Network. Well, today, baby, we're talking Saints football, but most importantly, we're talking about a young Saints interior defender who's going into his 4th season. We're talking about a former #1 draft pick by the New Orleans Saints, who last season sack total declined. But in reality, did his play decline all around? Was 2025 really a season of regress for Bryan Bresee? Well, family, we go answer that question today. There's a poll right now question in the chat, family. Please hit 1 for yes, 2 for no, vote. Let me know your thoughts on this. And also, I will be opening up the lines to let you come in. Because when it comes to Bryan Bresee, when you look at his 2025 season, the first thing that you see is the sack total was dropped. You see that 7.5 sacks in 2024 fell to 2.5 sacks in 2025. And many would say, man, what happened? What happened to Bryan last season? Did he regress? Did he lose that juice? Did the Saints miss on his development? But I'm going to tell you this, baby. I'm going to tell you to hold on for a minute, fam. Just go ahead on and pump your brakes. Because when you really look at the numbers and when you look at the injury that he was playing with last year. Remember, he got shut down last 2 games of the season, but before that, he was dealing with a back injury. You look at the snap distribution, and when you look at the role change, there's also, we would take a look at his pressure rate. And when you look at how the Saints used him, the story about the 2025 Bryan Bresee gets a lot deeper than just saying he felt off. So today, baby, I'm gonna break it down like no other, baby. I'm gonna give it Dolph's take on Bryan Bresee. But like always, family, we gonna keep it real over here. We gonna talk facts, rankings, numbers, and we gonna talk with common sense over here when it comes to Saints football. And I want everybody in the chat, I need y'all locked in, baby, because the question today is simple. Was Bryan Bresee 2025 decline a warning sign, or was it a temporary dip caused by his injury and role change? That is what we will answer. And we will get started, baby, soon as we get back. Again, this is Come On In. Thanks live.
This is a special presentation brought to you by the Come On In Sports Network.
From the opening kickoff to the final whistle, this is where football talk gets real. Big plays, big hits, breaking news, game-changing moments. Welcome to Come On In NFL, powered by the Come On In Sports Network. We are bringing you the latest headlines, roster moves, draft talk, injury updates, team breakdowns, and real football conversation, the way true fans live it. No fluff, no shortcuts, just honest analysis, strong opinions, and straight football talk from every angle of the league. Whether it is Sunday action, breaking news, playoff pressure, free agency, or draft season, we are locked in, so pull up, tap in, and join the conversation. This is Come On In NFL, where football fans come to get the juice. Let's talk football.
All right, family, welcome back again. This is Come On In Saints Live. I'm your host, Dolph Jackson, and we're powered by the Come On In Sports Network. You see our poll question we have up right now, baby. Was Bryan Bresee's 2025 decline a warning sign, or was it a temporary dip? Please vote in the chat, family. A simple 1 for yes and a simple no, a simple 2 for no. But before we get to that, family, let's go to the New Orleans Saints. Let's go to the Saints Live News Desk here. Again, powered by the Come On In Sports Network. First, family, Travis Etienne Jr. has been ranked number 96 on the NFL's top 100 players of 2026. Now, my friends, family, that matters because the Saints needed more offensive juice heading into 2026, especially out of the backfield. They needed more balance. They needed more explosive ability in the backfield, and that's where Travis Etienne comes in and gives this offense a real weapon who can run it, catch it, and stress defenses. Also, family, Coach Cam Jordan is back, baby. Cam is back in the conversation, and Cam made the top 100 list, baby. That's right. He is number 100 going into his 16th NFL season. And for a man entering year 16, you better believe, family, that is respect. Respect earned, baby. That is a legacy. And by the way, also, that is staying power. Cam Jordan cracking the NFL top 100 list for 2026. All right, baby. Now, Cam said it best. Cam said he's talking about chasing Myles Garrett type sack numbers. I know most of us say, hold on, Cam. Come on, bro. You only had 10.5 last year. You great. You one of the greatest ever to do it. One of the greatest Saints ever to do it. Now we talking 22.5, 23 sacks. But that's what Cam's going out for. That's his goal. And Cam went on to say, but even if his role becomes coach, mentor, or he's just a tone setter, or just a leader. He still wants the black and gold to win the Super Bowl. That is the part that Saints fans should hear. That's the part we should hear, family. Not ego. This is not a farewell tour. This man is talking about legacy through winning. Cam, if this is definitely his final season, wants to go out a winner. We want him to go out a winner. We need this team in 2026 to be winners, to be over 500. And I ain't talking about no garbage ass 9-8 either. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking multiple games over 500. 10-7, I'll take that. But I'm shooting for it. I'm saying at least 11-6. 11-6. Nope. I ain't saying it's gonna happen. That's what I'm hoping for. All right. In other Saints news, well, we got the Saints and Jaguars joint practice coming up on Thursday, August the 13th in Metairie at the Optional Sports Performance Center. That's before the very first preseason game of the 2026 preseason. And it's also big because Travis A-Chain will be practicing that week against the only team he has known since he's entered the NFL before coming home and joining the black and gold. So that's going to matter because joint practice tell you a lot more than just preseason vanilla football. That's where you see real tempo, real competition, and real trench work. Because now when you have another team coming in, as you go through the rigorous of training camp, listen, the defense becomes familiar with offensive play call, sets, formation, knowing the routes and everything. But when you have another team coming in, you have other dogs on the other side of the field from a different team who are trying to put food on their family's plate, who are trying to stay in this league, who are chasing their dreams also. Oh, yeah, the level and the level of execution, the pressure, the tempo, everything goes up. And that's what I expect when the Jaguars come to town for joint practices against the New Orleans Saints. And I'm pretty sure those practices will be open to the public. And I'm going to try to get down there for at least one day of those joint practices, baby. And with that said, that brings us back to Bryan Bresee. Because if the Saints are going to change the temperature of the defense in 2026, the interior defensive line has to be more than just solid as it was last year. This unit has to become disruptive. And we're talking about the returning unit of Cam Jordan, Nathan Shepard, Bryan Bresee, Carl Granderson, and Chase Young. Then we have hold on. Back up, dog. Bloop. Don't forget about last year's third-round pick, Vernon Broughton. Don't forget about Christian Miller. The trenches up front, both sides of the ball, to me, are going to tell the story for the New Orleans Saints. If the New Orleans Saints are in the top 5, top 8, when it comes to defensive interior presence and statistics as far as stopping the run, pressuring the quarterback, turning those pressures into sacks, I believe the New Orleans Saints will improve on their win total from last season. All right, family. So listen, let's just get into it, baby. But before we get into it, you know your boy Dolph couldn't do it like that, baby. I got to go to the chat, baby, to see who's in the building right now. Shout out to my boy, my brother Tim Dunn is in the building. Tim, how you doing? Come on in. Ryan Anthony is in the building. Ryan, how you doing? Come on in. All right, Brian's in the building. Thank you for being here, my man. All right, family. All right, more family members coming in. Again, family, don't forget, let me get the poll back up there. That's the poll question right there. Let's get that going, baby. Was Bryan Bresee's 2025 decline a warning sign, or was it a temporary dip? Let us know, baby. Now let's go to Bryan Bresee. Let me get this out of our way. Let's do this like that. There we go. That's better. Now, let's start with the obvious. Bryan's production dropped last season. There's no way to go around it. His production dropped last season. And it's not that his production dropped. His production dropped in the most polarizing area for a defensive lineman for his fans are concerned, and that's sacks. In 2024, in 17 games, he had 667 snaps. He had 37 pressures, which he turned into 7.5 sacks with 7 tackles for a loss and a 84.41% pressure rate. Now, last season, he appeared in 2 games less. He had less snaps. He had 636 snaps. He had less pressures. He had 29 pressures. And of course, he had less sacks, 2.5 sacks. And he also had less tackles for a loss, 5 tackles for a loss. And he had an 8.26% pressure rate. So yes, the sacks dropped. There's, again, no doubt about it. No beating around the bush. No going around the block. The splash plays by Bryan dropped last season. And yes, the box score looks worse. But here's the first thing I want Who Dat Nation to understand. The pressure rate did not collapse. His pressure rate went from 8.41% to 8.26%. That is not a player who suddenly forgot how to rush the passer. Bryan is not a player who lost. I would say Bryan is not a player who lost his ability, and he is not a player who became invisible. It is just that from the previous season, those 7.5 sacks, from him to go to 2.5, it was a drastic change. Bryan Bresee is a player whose finishing production fell off while his pressure creation stayed mostly the same. But again, that's a big difference because sacks can be affected by a lot of things. It's not easy to get quarterback to the ground, especially in today's NFL, where so many quarterbacks have the ability to move around the pocket, escape the pocket, keep plays alive, use their legs. They're not these. This is not the days of Drew Brees and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady when they just sit back there like surgeons. You knew where they were. You just had to get to them before they get the ball out. And I'm saying this because sacks can be affected by a lot of things. Again, like quarterback movement, coverage timing, the scheme, the rush lane discipline, containment, down and distance, injury, snap usage. It's a whole lot of things. And also whether the quarterback steps up or escapes, or whether another rusher gets home before Bryan got home. So those are things to keep into consideration that a lot of times, because we're looking at the surface, we don't pay attention to. But what pressure rate tells you is whether Bryan is still affecting the pocket. And Bryan was still affecting the pocket in 2025. So when some may say Bresee fell off, my answer is this. He fell off in production. He did not completely fall off in ability. I'm going to say that again. Bryan Bresee, yes, fell off in production, but he did not completely fall off in ability. That is the right way that we should frame today's conversation, family, around Bryan Bresee. All right, family, again, before we go any deeper, let me take a quick break and tell y'all, listen, Y'all make sure, family, you subscribe to Come On In Sports Network because we are building something real over here. This ain't just Saints talk, baby. This is football talk. This is NFL talk. This is real fan energy and real analysis, baby. Tap in with Come On NFL for league-wide news, rumors, trades, training camp battles, and all the movement around the NFL. Tap in with Uneducated Sports Talk, Real Fan Sports, Come On In Bills, Atlanta Falcons Fandemic, The Weekly Wrap. All of these shows are here live on the Come On In Sports Network, and it is World Cup time, baby, and we are covering the World Cup here on the Come On In Sports Network. Real Fan Sports, Zach, Nonfiction, brothers doing a great job of covering the World Cup. If you haven't tuned in, do yourself a favor, tune in. We have a great time over there. They interact with you throughout the entire game, man. They're really doing a great job over there. So tune in for that. So again, family, hit that like button, share the day screen, subscribe to the channel, and tell somebody and Who Dat Nation, baby. Dolph is just not talking football, baby. We are studying football over here, baby. So now let's get back to our boy, the man of the hour, the gentleman who we're talking about, because there are a lot of people in Who Dat Nation who are actually saying, who are actually thinking, who are actually saying that Bryan Bresee is a bust. Man, some of y'all tripping, man. Some of y'all tripping. And I'm gonna prove why you're tripping. Now, let's talk injury, because injury is the truth. Injuries are a part of the game. We cannot deny that. Now, according to information we broke down for this show, Bryan Bresee suffered a knee injury in week 16 against the Jets. He left that game. He was ruled out for the rest of the season. And of course, then he was ruled out for week 17 against the Titans. Now, that matters, because when the defensive tackle loses his lower body power, that affects everything. That affects his get off. That affects his leverage. That affects his ability to turn pressure into sacks. It affects him finishing those pressures. It affects balance when you're fighting through contact. And before that knee issue, he also had a back injury situation in November. Remember? He did. Again, I'm not making excuses, but these are facts. These are things that we must take into consideration for the decline from the 2024 season, for it being as dramatic as it looked. Now listen, where he was listed questionable, but he still played in November. But again, he was suffering with that back issue. Now, I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for Bryan Bresee. I ain't about to do that. Y'all already knew that. But again, this is the NFL. Everybody gets hurt. Everybody is playing through something. But I am going to be fair. That's one thing we are, and we'll always be. We're going to be fair. When a young defensive tackle has a back issue and then has a knee injury, and his sack production drops and his pressure rate stays stable, basically the same, that tells me we need to separate the two things. We do. You have to separate the two things. It's not just as black and white as it looked. You know, first of all, did he stop winning or did he stop finishing? The numbers say that Bryan Bresee did not stop winning his battles completely last year. The numbers say that the finishing fell off. So he wasn't finishing those pressures last year. He wasn't finishing getting the quarterback to the ground when he got a hand on the quarterback. He couldn't corral him as often and as well as he did in 2024. That's why this 2026 season is so important for Bryan Bresee, because if he comes back healthy, which all indications are he is, if the knee is right, if the back is right, and if the Saints put him back in more attack situations, and we go get into that, then we may see that 2024 version of Bryan Bresee again here in 2026. Hell, it might even be an even better one. So now let's talk about the role change, because his role changed in Bryan and Coach Staley's defense last year. Okay, now this is where we, this is where we get serious at. We already see, but here's where we really start breaking this down. Now, injury is one part of it, okay? But the role change might be just as big. His role changed last year. In 2024, Bryan Bresee was used as a pass rusher on 66% of his snaps. Last season in 2025, family, that dropped to 55.2%. That's a major shift. That's a major shift. That means the Saints took one of their best young interior rushers and put more run defense work on his plate. Now, we all were saying going to last season, he needed to work on his run defense. We understood that. But damn, not at the detriment of him losing his ability to rush the passer from the inside, where he is still one of the best, if not the best. I still think he's the best interior pass rusher, interior, not edge, interior pass rusher the Saints have on their roster. Last season, Bryan Bresee's run defense share went from 33% in 2024 to 44% in 2025. So let's say this plainly. Let me say this plainly. Bryan Bresee had fewer pass rush chances in 2025. It's just that simple. He went from 440 pass rush snaps, 440 in 2024, down to 351 pass rush snaps in 2025. That's 89 fewer pass rush attempts. Now, when you take away pass rush snaps, you take away what? You take away his opportunity to what? To get sacks. Now, that does not mean Bryan Bresee is blameless, because no. I'm not saying that. That's not what we're saying. When he is out there, he still has to finish. He still has to win. He still has to be more dominant. But if we're going to evaluate Bryan Bresee honestly, we have to evaluate the role honestly, the role he had last season. We cannot ask why man sack production dropped without asking whether his pass rush opportunities dropped. And they did. They dropped last season. So when I look at Bryan Bresee, I don't just see a player who regressed. I see a player whose job changed. And family, that is one of the biggest keys to today's conversation. His job changed. His role on the team changed last season. Let's see in 2026 if he can get it back better than 2024. Again, I'm Dolph Jackson. This is Come On In. Thanks live.
This is a special presentation brought to you by the Come On In Sports Network.
All right, Who Dat Nation? Come on in. I'm Dolph Jackson again. You're rocking with Come On In Saints Live, and we're powered by the Come On In Sports Network. Listen, this is the kind of breakdown we're going to bring to you here on Come On Saints Live. Not just the good or the bad. We're going to tell you why a player was good or why he was bad. And that's what we're doing today with Bryan Bresee. So we're going to talk about snap counts. We're going to talk about his usage. We're going to talk about down and distance. We're going to talk about the money downs, and we're going to talk about what it means for the Saints. So if you're a Saint fan who wants more than just headline, this is where you need to be, baby. And to everybody watching live, to everybody watching live, drop this in the chat. Do you believe Bryan Bresee bounces back in 2026? Yes or no? Again, chat, this is the question for you right now. Drop yes or no in the chat. Do you believe Bryan Bresee bounces back in 2026? Yes or no? I want to see where Who Dat Nation stands on this topic. Now let's talk about Bryan Bresee's pressure rate versus his sack rate. Now, his 24 season versus his 2025 season in production. Now, let's get to the money stat. Bryan Bresee's pressure rate stayed almost the same. 2024, it was 8.41%. 2025, it was 8.26%. That's a small drop, but his sack rate went from 1.70% to 0.71%. And again, that's just a major drop. There's no way to, no way you can dress that up. That was just a major drop. So that is the difference between creating heat and actually getting a quarterback on the ground. And in this league, baby, finishing matters. You got to finish. What were we saying last season, going into last season for Chase Young? He's getting the pressures, but he got to get the sacks. They got to turn the sack. He turned pressures into sacks last year. 10 sacks last season. Pressure is valuable. I'm going to say that again. Pressure is valuable because a lot of us get stuck on just looking at the sack total, but pressure, you heard the old saying, pressure busts a water pipe. Pressure is valuable because pressure speeds quarterbacks up. Pressure creates bad throws. Pressure helps the secondary, and pressure changes play calling. But sacks end drives. Sacks flip field position. Sacks create long yardage situations. Sacks get the Superdome rocking, baby. So for Bryan Bresee, 2026 cannot just be about pressure. It has to be about finish. He has to finish when he gets home in 2026. And that is where he has to take the next step. Because if Bryan gives you 30 plus pressures again, but only 2 or 3 sacks, the Saints are going to have to say, okay, we got a good player, but we need more. But on the opposite end, if Bryan is able to give the Saints 35 to 40 pressures and get back to 6, 7, 8 sacks from the interior, now we're talking about a problem. Not just a good player. We're talking about a player who's a problem. Now we're talking about a player offensive coordinators have to identify. Now we are talking about an interior disruption that helps Chase Young, Cam Jordan, Carl Granderson, and everybody else up front. That's the difference between being part of the rotation and being part of the identity. Again, this is Come On In Saints Live. We go to the chat, baby. Thank everybody for being here. Do us a favor, hit that link. Tim says, get Tim on. Tim says switching from 4-3 to 3-4, maybe. Yeah. But I'm gonna say this too. He played a little defensive end at Clemson too. Okay, so, but again, this is the NFL. It's different. Came as a rookie. First 2 seasons, you were 4-3. Last year, your team switches to 3-4. It's a difference between being an interior and the 4-3 and the 3-4. responsibility is a difference. Now, I'm gonna give you a positive sign from Bryan Bresee last year, and that was third down. Now, this is the part that gives me hope. Bryan Bresee's third down pressure rate improved. In 2024, his third down pressure rate was 8.38%. Get this, family. Last year on third down, when he was on the field in rush down situations, on third down to rush the passer, it jumped to 13.82%. That's a big time positive sign. Why? Because third down is where pass rushers get paid, and we already know he got a fifth-year option coming up. Third down is where quarterbacks have to hold the ball just a little longer. Third down is where protection rules matter. And third down is where interior pressure can destroy play before it even gets started, baby. But even with fewer third down pass rush snaps, Bresee became more efficient in those situations. Now that tells me the pass rush skills are still there and they are still alive with Bryan Bresee. That tells me the Saints that tells me that Coach Staley and his defensive staff may need to do more internally with how they use him. Don't just have Bryan Bresee out there eating up blocks. Don't just make him a live in-run defense traffic. Don't just have him in there to stop the run. Put him in a situation where he can attack. Line him up as a 3 technique. Let him get vertical. Let him use that first step quickness. Let him collapse the pocket. Because when Bryan Bresee is attacking, he can still be disruptive. But he must be put in the right situation. And when he is in the right situation or whatever situation he is in, he must perform. And it's just that simple. So what does this mean for the Saints defense in 2026? So we're going to bring it back to the team now. The Saints defense in 2026 cannot and must not be average up front. Not if they want to get back to winning football. Not if they want to protect leads when they do get leads, because last year they barely had leads. Not if they want to help Tyler Shuck in that offense. They cannot be average up front if they want to make the Superdome feel like the Superdome again. The Saints need their defensive line to create problems for the opposing team's offense consistently week in and week out. Cam Jordan is back for year 16 after agreeing to return on the 1-year deal. And Cam's leadership matters. He's the franchise standard. He's the voice. He's the example. Chase Young, he brings that juice off the edge. Carl Granderson, I was about to say brings production. Inconsistent production. His production must become consistently good in 2026. Nathan Shepard brings toughness, but he has to bring a little more. But Bryan Bresee is different because interior pressure changes the map. Edge rush is important, but quarterbacks can step up away from the edge rush. But interior pressure takes away the ability for the quarterback to step up from that edge pressure. There's nowhere to go. Interior pressure gets in the quarterback's face. It makes quarterbacks throw off platform. That is why I'm saying Bryan Bresee's bounce back is not just a player storyline. It is a New Orleans Saints defensive storyline. If Bryan Bresee rebounds, family, I believe the Saints defensive front becomes more complete. And if Bryan Bresee does not rebound, I believe the Saints still will have the pressure off the edge, but they may not have enough to disrupt offenses with interior pressure. And that is why 2026 is a prove-it year for Bryan Bresee. Not because he's a bad player. Family, Bryan Bresee is not a bad player. He is a talented player who now has to show the Saints exactly what he is going to become in 2026 and going forward. I'm Dolph Jackson, baby. This is Come On In Saints Live. We'll be right back.
This is a special presentation brought to you by the Come On In Sports Network.
All right, Who Dat Nation, welcome back to Come On In Saints Live, and we're powered by the Come On In Sports Network. I'm your host, Dolph Jackson, baby. Hope everyone's having a very good Sunday. Listen, family, this is my call out to you, Who Dat Nation. Let me pause right here and bring you into this, baby. Who Dat Nation, I want y'all to answer this. Who do you need, not who, but what do you need to see from Bryan Bresee in 2026? Do you need to see more sacks from him? Do you need to see him more healthier this season? Do you need to see him more dominant against the run this year? Do you need to see him become a full-time interior problem? That's what I want to see. Or do you just need the Saints coaching staff to put him back in more pass rush situations? Drop it in the chat, and while y'all doing that, make sure you like the stream, share the stream, and subscribe to the Come On In Sports Network, where we are building a home for real sports fans with real energy and real analysis. This is not surface level content, baby. This is Saints football, baby, and we are going in depth with it. All right, family. Here's Dolph's verdict, baby, on Bryan Bresee. I do not believe his 2025 decline was as simple as his talent decline. I do not believe that Bryan Bresee suddenly lost the ability to rush the passer. I do not believe the Saints or Who Dat Nation should panic. But at the same time, I also do not believe we should ignore the concerns, because the concerns are real. The sack rate felt. The finish felt. Injuries mounted up. They mattered. The role changed. His role with the team and how he was used last year changed, and it mattered. And year 4 is when a first-round defensive tackle should be showing the league exactly who he is. So my verdict is this. Bryan Bresee's 2025 season was more circumstantial than catastrophic. That means injury, usage, and finishing created the drop. But in 2026, he has to answer no matter what. There cannot be any more maybes, no more almost from Bryan Bresee. No more the pressure was there, but the sacks weren't. Bryan Bresee has to turn pressure back into production. If Bryan Bresee does that, the Saints have a real interior weapon. If Bryan Bresee does not, the Saints will have to ask a harder question about his long-term ceiling. But right now, based on the numbers, I still see a bounce-back path for Bryan Bresee, and that path starts with 3 things: health, pass rush opportunity, and finish, family. That's the formula for a bounce back season for Bryan Bresee in 2026. All right, family. Few more. Uncle Jerry's in the house. Uncle Jerry, how you doing? Come on in. My brother James Patrick is in the house. The Forum Media Network is in the house. James, how you doing? Come on in. All right, family. I'm going to put the link in the chat like I said. If you want to come on, let's talk Bryan Bresee. Let's talk Saints football. We're a few weeks away, baby, from training camp starting, from the NFL season getting started, baby. It is almost here, baby. Before you know it, we all will be getting excited. We all will be getting ready for that Hall of Fame game until it kicks off and we watch about 1 to maybe 6 plays and turn it off unless it's your teams that are playing. But with that being said, baby, the link is not in the chat. If you want to come on, please come on, man. Again, we're live here on the Come On In Sports Network. We're live on YouTube on Come On In Saints Live and also St. John Butler. So everybody, hit that link, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Come on in. Now, Who Dat Nation, that has been the breakdown of one Bryan Bresee. Now listen, y'all, I need y'all to vote. Y'all see the poll is up. I need y'all to put a 1 for yes and a 2 for no with the poll. Was Bryan Bresee's 2025 decline a warning sign or was it a temporary dip? Based off of everything we have just gone over, I need you right now, family, to answer that before we get on out of here. And while you're doing that, I'm going to close out with this. Bryan Bresee was not good enough from a sack production standpoint. We can say that clearly. But the deeper numbers tell us this was not a player who disappeared. His pressure rate stayed stable. His third down pressure rate improved. His run defense involvement increased. His role changed. His body took a hit health-wise. So now 2026 becomes the proving ground for Bryan Bresee. Can Bryan Bresee stay healthy? Can the Saints put him back in more attack situations? Can he finish more plays? Can Bryan Bresee help this defensive front become one of the reasons the Saints get back to winning football? That, family, is the question. And I'll say it like this. If Bryan Bresee gets back to being a real interior disruptor, the Saints defense gets a whole lot more dangerous. Who Dat Nation? I appreciate you. So come on in. This has been Come On In Saints Live, powered by the Come On In Sports Network. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and keep that ticker rolling, baby, because Saints football is heating up, baby, and training camp will be here before you know it. Again, the lines are not open. I'm going to hang out with you, baby, for a little while longer for those who want to come on. And while we waiting, I want to take a look. Let me get it up for you. We're going to go to Who Dat Dish, which has quickly become one of my go-tos for Saints football news, man, because they do a great job over there, man. And we're going to look at an article that was written. This article came out on the 26th by Mr. Drew Collins, and it has to do with Saints safety, Saints starting free safety, Julian Blackmon. And the title says Julian Blackmon is quietly one of the Saints' most important players. So let me get that up so I can share that with you. We're going to read that article together. And Julian Blackmon, there we go. And bam. All right, so So Julian Blackmon is quietly one of the most important players for the Saints. Again, this came out June the 26th. Mr. Drew Collins, Who That Dish, shout out to Who That Dish, man. They do a great job over there. So what players for the New Orleans Saints defense will have major impacts in 2026? Many fans will instantly think of Chase Young, Kool-Aid McKinstry, or even Jonas Sanker, all of which are true. But few recognize the importance of safety, Julian Blackmon. The veteran will play a key role in Brandon Staley's defense, and his performance will be a defining factor in their success. You got to stay healthy, though, man. We lost him after the first game of the season. He had a good game in the opening week last season. The Saints signed Blackmon to a one-year deal late last offseason. After a fabulous training camp, he established himself as a starter heading into week 1. Unfortunately, he suffered a season-ending shoulder injury during the opener and spent the remainder of the year on injury reserve. Despite this, the team saw enough and re-signed him, hoping he could recover and once again claim a starting role. Fortunately for the Saints, Blackmon participated in minicamp and looked fully healthy. That's the big key for Julian Blackmon his whole career. When he has been healthy and out there on the field, he has been a very good player. Not just an average player, but he has been a very good player. This bodes well for Staley as a serious question looms over the safety room, especially with Jonas Sanker primarily taking snaps at the star position. Now the 27-year-old safety is expected to be a leader on defense and a starter once the season kicks off. Julian Blackmon's performance will be a major indicator of the Saints' success. As aforementioned, Sanker is primarily moving to the star position. The second-year player started 16 games in Blackmon's absence last year and was a breakout presence on defense. Without him as safety, that eliminates a majority of the depth. Because of this, Blackmon will be heavily relied upon and called to play nearly every snap. As a result, Blackmon will play a vital role in both the Saints' pass and run defense. He has experience both as a free safety, being the last line of defense, and as a box safety, triggering downhill to defend the run. Additionally, his experience, his IQ, and his athleticism make him a dependable option who can be trusted in single coverage and not allow any game-wrecking moments. This versatility and reliability will let Staley implement a variety of coverages to keep the opposing quarterback guessing. Julian Blackmon isn't getting the spotlight, but he will quietly play a crucial role in the Saints defense. His performance could be the difference between winning and losing, making or missing the playoff. Luckily for the Saints, the veteran has ample experience and the talent to be an exceptional player in Brandon Staley's defense. And again, that's courtesy of Who That Dish. If you haven't been over there to Who That Dish, family, stop doing yourself a disservice. Go over there to Who That Dish, man. They do a great job over there at Who That Dish. All right, again, I need some votes in the lesson. Damn it, vote in the damn chat. Damn it. Put a word in the chat. Hey, that's the question right. That's the poll question right there, family. Is Julian Blackmon? I'm telling you, I just read Julian Blackmon. Why Bryan Bresee's 2025 decline? Was Bryan Bresee's 2025 decline a warning sign, or was it a temporary dip? I'm gonna put 2 in the chat. I'm gonna start it off. I'm gonna put 2 in the chat. Me. I'm gonna put 2. But I'm gonna say no, it wasn't. I don't believe it was me. That's just me personally. All right. So we got that the vote right there. I'll put 2 in. Listen, we got 60 in the building. I thank each and every single one of you. Everybody following us on X, do us a favor. Give us a follow on X, baby. Share our content on X. It's not just about the Saints on Come On In Sports Network. We cover the entire NFL. We cover sports, baby. We cover the World Cup over here. We cover WNBA, NBA, NCAA, cricket, baseball, Hell, we might even start covering hobby horse. Ooh, that's funny. Question: how many of you knew? Oh, I gotta drink water on this one. Family. I mean, how many of y'all out there knew or even had a inclination that there was a true sport called hobby horse? Now, for those of you who don't know, hobby horse, it's what many of you are thinking about. I know some of you are sitting there, you're thinking like, I know damn well Dolph ain't sitting up here on a Sunday asking us about some damn hobby horse. He talking about that damn horse head on the stick that people used to run around with when they were kids, some people. Well, yes, that's what I'm talking about, and I'm here to tell you that there are grown people today in America and around the world that participate in hobby horse tournaments, hobby horse leagues. If you think I'm lying, look it up. So they run around and they jump over obstacles like they're in a steeplechase, like they're actually riding a horse, but they're running and jumping themselves. No shade, but it's interesting. It is. I don't want to say odd. It is hell odd, weird, but it is a sport. There are thousands that love it. There are hundreds that participate in it. And I just thought I'd bring it to your attention. It's just something that made you sit back and say, you know, one of them things that make you just sit back and say, huh? Really? Okay. But again, this is Come On In NFL. This is Come On In Sports Network, baby. Home to real fan sports, uneducated sports talk. Come On In Bills, Atlanta Falcons Fandemic. Come On In NFL. Come On In Saints Live, the weekly wrap, and home to the fastest growing pregame show on all the social media, baby, which is back in 2026. That's right. We will be back each and every single Sunday morning from week 1 on all the way through Super Bowl Sunday, baby. For as the NFL turns, as we will get you ready for the day's action, we will break down each and every single game. We will give you the latest injury updates. We will bring on guests from around the country who cover various teams. So it's going to be a great season here at Come On In Sports Network. Make sure you're a part of it, family. Hit that like button, subscribe on X, give us a follow us on X. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. You're going to have a great time. And once again, I'm putting out the message right now. We currently are looking for 2 female content creators to host our Come On In NFL podcast segments here on the Come On In Sports Network. Ladies, if you love football, you love NFL football, reach out to us, let us know. We have a place ready for you. We are here to support you. We will give you all the support that you need. If you're young into it, if you're older, it doesn't matter. If you're fresh into the game, but you're passionate about what you what you do, about the NFL, if you do real research, if you're not about hot takes and clickbait, this is the place. These are the people that we're calling to come on in and join the Come On In Sports Network family. Again, family, this has been a great show. I thank you all for joining me today. Listen, enjoy your Sunday, enjoy family, and remember, family, the doors are now open. So come on in. And like we do, before we get out of here, family. Y'all know how we do. Love. Hold on. Your boy about to mess up. I'm about to mess up, family. I'm about to mess up. Let me do it like this. Y'all know how we do before we get out of here, family. Love and who that. Have a good day, family. I'll see you next Sunday live for Come On In, Saints Live. I'm Dolph Jackson. We out. Have a good one, family.
Yeah. We back, baby. Dolph Jackson, Coach Rock, presented by the Come On In Sports Network. Who that nation, how you doing? Come on in. Take a seat, it's all good, you're amongst friends. Breaking news, interviews, Saints Juice. Open lines up just for you. 9 ball, 10 ball, where you at? 12 ball, 15, where you at? 3rd ball, 17, where you at? 9th ball, all the way in the back. Uptown, baby, downtown, baby. Everybody represent black and gold, baby. Uptown, baby, downtown, baby. Everybody represent black and gold, baby.